Hi everybody, it's me again, Kelly. This is cards 2 and 3 for our November Christmas card make. And I'm just going to quickly show you the second card because it's basically an assembly card. It's not that hard. I used the Merry Christmas out of Little Delights, and then I used either this one or this one for my envelope. It was pretty simple. And how this card goes together, sorry for all the jiggly, sorry about that, is there's two pieces of Evening Evergreen, and those just get glued onto the designer series paper, and stamp the white part, put your 3 dots here, pop up your sentiment, and then the inside looks like this. Now this is one variation of it, so it can be a landscape card or it can be a portrait card, and it's basically the same thing. The difference here is how close or far apart I put the green. The dark green, it doesn't matter. I just try to be consistent, and whatever the width of this is, I try to be from this side. And then this is popped up with dimensionals, and it looks like that on the inside. So that's card 2. Very, very simple. You can put it together in a matter of moments. The hardest part is maybe stamping and stamping your envelope. Okay, so let's go on to our next card. Our next card is going to use the Peaceful Cabin stamp set and die set. Well, actually, I don't use the die. Well, I did use the dies on this. I lied. I used the dies on this. I used it for some Christmas trees. So this is a stamp set, and what we're going to make is called a bay window card. Now, if you have my card kits, you would have this bay window instruction, and it's a very simple card. It just sounds more complicated than it is. So I'll show you what the card looks like. So this is what it looks like flat when you mail it, and then you can take it and slide this underneath it. Now it creates a bay, and this is what it looks like standing up from above, but this is what it would look like if it were standing up. Then I also on the inside put an area where you can write. Okay, and this is popped up so that it is my ledge to catch my little 1/4 inch part here. Okay, so the hardest part of the card, absolutely the hardest part, is cutting your designer series paper. You're going to have designer series paper that is cut at 4 1/8 by 6, and we're going to chop this up. Now, if you do not care if your landscape is exactly the same across, it will not matter how you make the cuts. But let me show you how I created this particular card. And we are going to start with our trimmer, paper trimmer here. Now, everybody will know that if you know me, I do it upside down because I can read this better than I can read that. So I use this down here. And I like things to go from left to right, not right to left. So I'm a little bit backwards, but it's okie doke. All right, so the first cut we're going to make in our designer series paper is at 1 5/8. Okay, 1 5/8. I'm going to put that off to the side up here. My next one is going to be 1 3/8. My next cut will be at 1 5/8. Oh, I did that one. I did do that one wrong. Oh, well, okay, now we get to see what I do when I do it wrong. This should have been 1 5/8, and it's 1 7 at 1 yeah, this one's the 1 5/8. So we will mix it up on our card. Our card is going to be different, but let's do this instead. I will make a different card later. Let me get another piece of paper, and we will chop that one to the correct measurement. So we'll start again. 1 5/8. 1 3/8, 1 5/8. This time I've got it at 5/8, leaving me with a 1 3/8 piece. Now we've got it in the order that the card is meant to be made in for this particular version. So here we go. Now we are going to assemble our card, and inside your envelope you should have a card base. You should have had your designer series paper, 3 trees and a little piece of white, your inside piece, and 2 pieces of shimmer glitter paper. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to fold this, and this is how I do it. I fold this first, and now I'm going to adhere this. You're going to either run score tape along here, or you're going to run glue. You're my students, you know I'm going to use glue. So here we go. Here comes the glue. It's almost like a little book binding that you're doing here. And all I do is just hold it down so that it stays where it needs to be. Okay? And I'm just going to leave that as is. So what you'll see is that this one piece, the very last piece, will fit here. The one that I messed up on the first cut that should have been 1 5/8 is going to go here. This one is going to go here. And as you can see, it is just the paper just going across. It almost looks like you're looking at a window or out a bay window, which is why this is called a bay window card. Now, I am going to glue these down real quick. And this part is very simple. Like I said, the hardest part is scoring and cutting this one piece of paper. Once you get the base scored and you've cut your design, then it's not a big deal. Now, if you do not have like a design, or a picture that you're trying to create, let's say your designer series paper is all the same type, it's all a floral of some sort, then it doesn't matter how you cut it, but I'm trying to make it look like it's a window. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure about 4 1/8. I think that's about right. I'm looking at a ruler below that. I'm going to snip that off, and I'm just going to put it on the side with a little bit of glue, and I just want it to glam it up a little bit. I like bling, so this is my glam for this card, is a little bit of bling. You are going to have approximately a 2-inch piece that you can either use on something else or you can pitch. It's perfectly fine with me what you do with it. And then once I've measured one, I just take the next one and kind of mimic it. I'm not always one for, and I know this will surprise some people, to do everything with exact measurements. I'm not that stuck on that anymore. I think card making has loosened me up. That's how I'm going to put it. I'm a little bit freer with making some mistakes, and it's okay, because to me that's fun. Now, before I do anything more, I'm going to stamp this. And you may say, well, should you have stamped that beforehand? And the answer is yes. If you can, that's probably the best way to do it. However, I tend to make this card and glue it down and then stamp it. So what I'm using is a stamp from the Peaceful Cabin, and I'm just going to put it here in the center one as best I can, and I am using Smoky Slate. I don't want it to be very dark. I just want it to be there like it's a whisper. That's the best way to do it. And in this stamp set is a little wolf or fox. Either way, you can call it whatever you want. I call it a wolf. And I just put him on there because I kind of like him. I think he just adds a little bit more to the landscape. So that's why I did that. So I'm going to shut up my my smoky slate. I will be using it here shortly to do my envelope, but right now we're done with that. So at this point, I am going to fold this back again, and I'm going to take this piece of paper and adhere it as close to the fold as possible. So let me, like I said, you can use your tape adhesive seal. You can use glue like I do. I'm kind of crazy with glue. And I just kind of center it as best I can. Whenever I glue something, though, I do come through with a bone folder a lot of times just to make sure it stays flat, because glue can have the chance of being a little bit bubbly if you use too much. Now you have this one last piece here, and we're going to work with that right now. And it's going to, where did my stuff go? I'm looking for something I can't find. Yay! Okay, I found it. Okay. So this one's just going to get adhered here, and I'm going to adhere it so it has like 1/8 of an inch on the top and the bottom. It's okay if there's a space here. So let me glue that down. Okay, and that's to the best of my ability. So now I can go through and I can fold this one like this and fold this one like this. Now this one here, this little fold on the end, we're going to fold back onto itself, because this is going to be the little thing that catches on. You can either have a sentiment there. On some cards I've had a little sentiment that locked this underneath. But in this case, we're going to do some Christmas trees. And what I did is I die cut these out of leftover designer series paper, so I wasn't wasting any paper. And I have 3 trees. I put 2 of them on here, and the big one I put on here. But I felt, and this is up to you, you can just glue this on and set it there. It might be a little bit harsh. That's up to you if you think it's too harsh. I am going to do this one without changing it. In the past, what I did is I took a little bit of the smoky slate and grayed down that piece of white cardstock, so it wasn't so in your face. But I'm going to try one without that. So I'm going to just glue this on here. Okay, and I got my glue a little bit higher up, so we're just going to let that sit for a second. And while that's drying in that little bit of glue that would stick on other things, I'm just going to glue my other 2 little trees on the inside. And they're just there to be pretty. That's about it. They're just there to be consistent and pretty with the rest of the card. Okay, so there's that. And now we're going to put this together. Now you can take dimensionals and cut them in half. If you have the shaker card stoppers that Stampin' Up! Has, you can certainly use that dimensional for this card. Where is that thing? My goodness. I have things everywhere they're not supposed to be. And, okay, well, we'll try. I must have put it in a different spot and left it out overnight. So I have some of these. Stampin' Up! Has them also. They're just a little bit higher and a little bit, I think they're thicker this way. They're thicker this way. I don't need it quite so thick. And I only need about 1.5 inches of this. So I'm just going to cut off a little piece here. And I'll throw this back in my dimensional thing. And I'm going to put this on one side of my tree. Now, what you want to be sure is that it's on this side or the right side when it's facing up. So that way you've got a little ledge for this to be adhered to the card, but also for your card to have its little area for holding on. So I'm just going to move this in just a smidge, put this down, and now you will see that this can hook underneath there, and we have our card. Isn't that beautiful? I just love that. It's a very pretty, simple card. Once you've done one or two of these, you'll do a bunch of them. They're very, they make a statement for somebody who wants to put their cards up on the mantle. This is a mantle card because it's so pretty. And you can put a beautiful message here. If you're one who likes to put a hallmark on the back, you will have a space for that on this card. Again, it just slides under. And this is what I did with the stamps from the stamp collection, is I stamped 2 of the trees. Now it comes with 3 trees together. I just inked up this and stamped it. I didn't get any ink on this one, so it didn't matter when I stamped it. And then I did the same thing in the front to give it trees on both sides. So that's how I did this. Hopefully this was informative and fun. Like I said, it's a pretty simple card. It's a lot of fun to do, especially if you get the measurements right. The sequence of cutting is only important if you have to make a scene like we did on this card. If it's a designer series paper, you just cut it 4 1/8 by 6, cut 2 at 1 5/8, cut 2 at 1 3/8, and there's no reason why you should have a problem with it. It will always fit on this card this way. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great night. Bye-bye.